thank you very much, John, for joining us in this webinar. It's a pleasure to have you here. You're one of the great master and coach. I'm not sure if you're coaching Canadians or not, but that's fine.
I do.
You can
I
always,
have for a long time. Yes.
okay, you can always give us an introduction. So without further ado, we are on the right timing here. So you can talk for half an hour, 45 minutes.
Okay.
You can talk for us for 2, 3 hours, but unless some of these agents they have some questions, they can
Yeah.
interrupt you and ask you the
Let,
question.
let
Now,
me let me rock through. I've got some slides, a little introduction, got some slides. I'll
sure.
roll through and kind of the message I want to kind of share with everybody, and then I'll fly through it pretty quick. So it's going to be a ton of content. Obviously, great thing is record it, and we can come back around. People can rewatch it, but for sure, open up for questions at the end. And um, this is something that I had put together for a recent event in that I spoke at in here in Texas in Tyler to Cindy Featherstone. She's longtime client, just incredible human being. And it's a theme that's been kind of popping up, and people have been asking just from a mindset perspective. A lot of agents are struggling, mindset wise. How do I keep that in check? Because it is the most important thing. It's the thing that will derail us, because what we think, it drives how we feel. And if we're thinking disempowering thoughts, or in a not in a fully optimistic way, in a positive way, and we're self-sabotaging, that's just gonna change. That's just going to change the way we feel. It's going to feel disempowering, and then that's going to lead to disempowering habits and actions, and then therefore we're not getting the results, right? So it's always right things, right order. There's a code and a sequence to unlock everything, and so it really starts, in the mind, but more importantly, who we surround ourselves really drives that right environment. So creating this community that you have, and being able to bring people in and share and add value can really change the way, that their environment and the way they think, and just get some slight distinctions in being able to have a process to work through that. So I really want to share it. I've been throwing this out quite a bit this year, just kind of as a reminder. And this was President Theodore Roosevelt's Man in the Arena speech, which was fascinating because he gave it in the early 1900s. And, it's just a great reminder, right? Because there's so many, I like to call them crickets, right? Crickets chirp really, really loud, but when you get up on them, they're very silent. And so that's also kind of what he's referring to here as the critic. And it's it's not about what people say, it's about what people do. And we have to be in the arena. We have to be in there doing the work. That is what is required. We're looking for the necessary required actions to drive our life and drive our business forward. And it comes in, being in the arena and not paying any attention to the critics up in the stands, because they ain't in the arena with us. So it's just a great reminder of like, hey, are you in the arena? And if you are, don't worry about what other people are saying. You focus on you. Are you doing the right thing? Are you doing the right things in the right order? Because that's all that really, really matters. So goal and intent. Just give some ways to think. I've got a couple exercises in here that will help kind of, help that inner thought process, and where our minds get jumbled up, and some exercises to keep us clear and keep us focused. And then if it's cool, I've got our Agent to CEO vault that has all kinds of trainings and recordings and everything in it. Give you guys a link access to be able to jump in there and take advantage of that stuff as well. And if not, maybe you guys can build some confidence and strut around your market like this. I don't know why. I think this is one of the funniest pictures ever. I have it almost in every presentation. It's just funny. I don't know. I laugh at it. So a little background about me. System process coach. Real estate agents become the true CEO of their business. Most real estate agents, move from, employee into a self-employed mindset, yet they never shift over to the business mindset, right? Really, what it really takes, that this is my business, and how do I function and operate within a business? And, for me, My upbringing, man, I'm just a coach's kid. I grew up in the public, in the locker rooms. My dad was in the public school system for 48 years. So in Lawton, Oklahoma, on teachers pay is not much. So my dad had to, coach anything and everything that he could and took care of the facilities during the summer and just to make ends meet. And so that meant I had to spend a lot of time with him. And really what was amazing, not really understanding what's going on, but when you're in an environment so long, you just kind of become hardwired that way, right? It just kind of reprograms you in. So for me, growing up and seeing, coaches, obviously with athletes, but being able to lead other human beings and see a transformation in them was really powerful for me and formed a lot of really powerful beliefs. And so I just believe everyone on the planet needs a great coach in their life. And, I believe that with a great coach in your life will be better. And I also believe, if you're struggling in your business to be better, you have to become better. If there are no business problems, there's only leadership problems. And it all starts with self leadership. So from there, and just kind of what we were talking about before we went, started recording, man, my why is to inspire and challenge people to think bigger so that they can transform their lives and transform their business, right? To be able to transform your business, you have to transform you. Who do you have to become in order for this type of business that you want to have? And just every day, right? It's how can we continue to inspire and challenge people to think bigger? Because if you're not happy with your current situation, it's because your future is not big enough. For our present to be better, our future has to be bigger. And that's the number one constraint that I see with real estate agents is that they just don't think big enough, right? They don't think into the future. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. A little background story. College dropout. The gentleman there to my left in the picture there on the right, the blue shirt, Mr. Michael Reese. He's the connector. Him and I go back to junior high school days. We were first roommates in college. We had a fun year, right? I went to college to play golf, ended up on the drinking team, and so that didn't work out too well. And my aunt said, enough is enough. And so she got me out to California, and I was really so blessed for that. That was one of the biggest pivotal moments in my life because that became my college. I had the opportunity to work for one of the most amazing bosses that you could ever possibly have because she really instilled into me to think from an operator's mindset and understand. She goes, you know how to play golf. But you need to know how to run a profitable pro shop. You need to know how to deal with the public and the members. We were a 36-hole semi-private golf resort. So we had lodging, we had food and beverage, we had 30, we had it all. We had the public and members. So it was like the perfect storm of an environment that you can be in. And she just really laid the foundation for what I've been able to build and operate and run businesses, over the last, 25 plus years. Like everything, right? I got sucked back home. A couple high school buddies, serial entrepreneurs. They incredible salesmen. They sold me on leaving California and going back to Oklahoma, and came in and operated with these guys, serial entrepreneurs, ideas, profitability, and flipping. So we flipped 4 businesses in about a 4-year time span, and we were jobless. So ending 03, going into 04, we thought it was a good idea. So we bought the bar around the corner because we didn't have anything else to do. And 128 straight days later, it was time for a change. And that's where Michael came back in as the connector. And he found out that I was going to leave those guys. And he introduced me to Jay Kinder in 2004. So over the past 20 years, man, being able to start, grow, scale 3 separate 7-figure real estate businesses, got about a little over 4,300 transactions under my watch. And since 2012, I've had the opportunity to personally one-on-one coach some really amazing individuals in a one-on-one type of environment. I updated that number for you last night. We are at 15,983 one-on-one coaching sessions. So we're making a run. It's just a fun number to track. Just mind blowing how many one-on-one conversations. And I share the real estate perspective and share these things not to brag, but just to understand that I have a unique perspective that almost no other coach or individual can have because owning and operating in polar opposite markets, as well as coaching people all over North America. And now with EXP being able to coach, I've got clients in Brazil, right? So Portugal. So think about that, what's really happening. So it's been a fun ride. Like I said, I've had the opportunity to work with some really crazy, amazing people. Got Brandon there. Been working with Brandon at town for almost a decade now. It's wild opportunity. I work with Andrew Franklin, Nick Good, coach the #1 team at Real, Jack and Michael Perry, Stasek, and then there's Miss Cindy, plus hundreds of others. So Ashton, I want to run through this, okay? Like I said, it's going to be like drinking, Red Bull out of a fire hose, but I want to get through it. So get some perspective. Obviously it's recorded. It's going to be a lot, be able to share and rewatch, pull little nuggets out, but open it up to some questions at the end. So I want to talk about self-leadership, the main skill for us that we have to constantly be pouring in and developing. And then something, I want to touch on something called the inner stance. And then, like I said, after this presentation, give you guys access to how to access our vault and what that'll unlock and do for you as well. And then obviously, some questions. Ashton, I threw this picture in there, and I think, everybody, it's been floating around, the internet quite a bit this year. And it's, the American bison. And, what's really fascinating with this picture and what it represents is that the American bison is the only animal, when a storm is coming, that it turns directly into and faces the storm. And I don't know if it's just how they're built to be able to handle it better that way, or whatever the cause is, but they face the storm and they get through it fast. They don't hide from it. They don't turn sideways. They don't turn away from it. They face the challenge. And I think that's such a great reminder for all of us, is that, the obstacle is the way, right? The way is through the storm, not to sidestep it, not to, just run for cover and duck and hide. No, the obstacle that's the path. And I think it's just a great reminder. And that's why I love this image so much, because it's just a reminder, whatever storms we're facing, we're all facing different type of storms. Maybe not right now, but I promise you one's coming. Or you just, you're in one, I promise you it'll pass. And it's just a great reminder to, to face it, get through it, because the quicker that we face it, the quicker that we're able to get to the other side. So it's just a great reminder. So I want to kind of start here with what I believe. We talk about the #1 rule of leadership, and the #1 rule of leadership is lead by example. And for you to lead by example, it comes around this phrase, right? The king eats first. And what Garrett's talking about here is the same as the airplane, the oxygen mask concept, right? Why do you put the oxygen mask on you first, right? Because if you don't, then you run out of our most valuable resource, which is oxygen, then you're no good to anybody else. So it's just a great reminder, am I doing the things that I need to do to be the best version of myself every day, right? And to be selfless, which is what we all want to, we have to be selfish first. So just a great reminder. Am I doing the things to make sure that I am the best version of me, so that I can lead the people that are looking to me for my guidance and my direction? And so, just really believe that for you to unlock your business potential, you have to unlock your potential first. And, if you don't like change, you're going to like being irrelevant even less. And so just embrace change. It's just a part of us. It's a part of life. It's a part of business. It's just, now we're rooted in principles. We're rooted in foundation, yet we still have to adapt and continue to become the best versions of ourselves. Or we're going to have to go find something else to do. And, a couple questions that, maybe to ponder right now is that, are you just dissatisfied with your results? Do you know they could be better? Are you uncertain what the problem is? Well, if we ask ourselves any of these questions, the answer is we are the problem. We are always the problem. And when you think about a company gets into trouble, they fire the CEO, right? A team starts losing, they fire the head coach. And so there are no business problems, guys. There are only leadership problems. And you look back at every business failure, it can be traced back to a leadership challenge, a leadership problem, something that wasn't led the right way, something that either a lack of discipline or a lack of you know, justice in the way of like doing the right thing, right? Doing what is required. And what we have to always remember is that before we can lead others, we have to lead ourselves first. You know, a great question to ask for your business is, would you follow you? Are you building a business that you would want your kids to be proud to be a part of, want to work? You know, Ashton, there's this great thought exercise that if you had a camera crew following you around for 24 hours a day, right? They're just filming everything you do, and that film, that feed is going to the devices of the people that you care and love about the most. It's going to your significant other, it's going to your kids, it's going to your parents, it's going to your siblings. Think about that for a second, right? Are you proud of what they're seeing? And that's a level of transparency that is required, yet so few people are absolutely transparent. There's so few people that consistently do the right thing, right? And so, would you follow you? In self-leadership, this is where people fail in leadership because they just have not spent the time leading themselves. And so we understand that, and the main skill for us to become the best version of ourselves, the main skill to develop is emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is the five core tenets of emotional intelligence are self-awareness, right? Are you aware of your strengths, of your weaknesses? Are you aware of what you have uniquely, gifted to do? What are you the best in the world at? What gives you energy? What are you really good at but maybe doesn't give you energy? What should you never do? What is that level of self-awareness? Self-regulation is the ability to control our emotions. This is a big one. And what are those things that help us regulate and not just fly off the handle? And that takes some self-awareness, but there's also some work and some tools required. A way to think, having a good, lattice work, right? What Charlie Munger talked about of mental models, right? To be able to just really start to understand at a deep level, understand human beings, and that, typically what we're dealing with other humans is a lot of smoke. And what causes smoke is fire. And in the fire is really a human need that is not being met. And being able to step back and get real with our conversations is so key. The other thing with the self-regulation is like, what are we doing from a mindfulness, standpoint? What's the meditation, silence, prayer? What are we doing to, strengthen our bodies physically? What are we doing to, keep our bodies moving, to performing at the best possible condition that we possibly can? That will help self-regulate a lot of our emotions and our reactiveness. The third is motivation. Okay. What we have to remember is that nobody can motivate us. People can inspire us, but motivation comes from within. There's five pieces of motivation. Obviously, the ones we're familiar with are typically the carrot and the stick, right? We tend to beat ourselves up a little bit to get going. Or sometimes we have to dangle a prize out there, a carrot, to get us going. And those are okay. Those are good. Those are forms of motivation. They're not the best forms of motivation. Where motivation gets really good is that instead of chasing that external carrot, we're doing something for ourselves that makes us feel good. That's where having a purpose is so important. To have a great purpose in our life, it's like, why are we doing what we're doing? Why are we doing this? And so, like I shared my why at the beginning, that's my internal motivation, right? Doing this right here, this gives me fulfillment. This gives me joy. This is a part of motivation for me. And then also, are we doing something that's fun, and do we love it? That's really important. And those are the three, really healthy forms of motivation, is that we're doing something for the internal reward. We're having fun, and we absolutely love it. We love the thing. Next, we get down into social skills. That's right. Really being able to have a conversation with another human being. 2 ears, one mouth for a reason, listening more. And that is another incredible skill set to develop with our leadership capabilities, and it's kind of that evolution is, what is your question to statement ratio? How well are you listening? Are you talking more than you're listening? Are you asking great questions? Really being truly interested? What is your social skills? What are you doing to develop, your ability to communicate with another human being? And then the last one is empathy. And to me, once you get that, then everything else really falls in line. I'm not going to share it, but if you write this down and if you go to YouTube and you go to just type in Cleveland Clinic empathy, it's the most powerful 4 minute and 20 something second video you'll ever watch in your life. After watching that, you'll be like, got it. And I can just implore you to share that with your family, share that with your kids, share that with your team. You're like, okay, got it. It all comes into perspective. And just be ready. It's very emotional, but it is very powerful, and it's a must. So Cleveland Clinic empathy, I promise you, you'll understand. You'll be like, got it after that. I think the other thing is just, making sure that we're honest with ourselves and living in alignment to our values. When we talk about vision that we have for our life and for our business, it all starts with our core values. In Tony Short's book, The Power of Full Engagement, where they studied professional tennis players and then took it into C-suite business world with executive training, what they found is that to be at our peak level, we have to perform the top. We have to be at the top physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, not religion, spiritually. And what they're referencing to is being true to who we are, right? What are those values, those shoulds and should nots, the non-negotiables? Are we living in alignment to it? And we all get out of alignment sometimes, but having that gut check, getting back in alignment is so key. Making sure that we're living in alignment to our values and making sure that we're setting our goals in alignment to our values. Really embracing, that 100-0 concept, 100% ownership of everything, zero excuses, accountable. Make sure we don't have our victim glasses on. Make sure we're staying truly, truly accountable, because I promise you, in every situation, you could have done something a little different. You could have done something better. I'm having to let this team member go. Well, what did you miss in the beginning? What did you miss in the onboarding process? What did you miss in the hiring process? What did you miss? Where did you miss along the way that you could have done a better job? And if you're truly honest with yourself, like what we just said, be honest with yourself. You could have always done something a little bit better. So just always embracing, not falling away from, and never trying to make those excuses. And at the end of the day, self-leadership is all that matters. When this is broke, it's all out the window. So self-leadership is everything. It's the number one rule of leadership: lead by example. And remember, as Biggie Smalls, right? We can't change the world until we change ourselves. So number one rule of leadership, like I've said, lead by example, and understanding that example is not the main thing in influencing others. It is the only thing. Think about this. Are you modeling the behavior that you want to instill into another human being? Are you modeling that behavior for your kids? Are you modeling that behavior for your team members? Right? Just be the example in a positive way, and also with how much attention is on social media. You're always on stage. Like, there's more people watching you and paying attention to you than you will ever know. There's people wanting you to succeed. There's people watching you. They want you to fail. But doesn't matter. You are always on stage as a leader. And, I think one of the cool things, especially for me, as I've gotten older with kids and kids on social media, just like before I hit or type or do anything, I'm like, my kids are watching. Is this what I'm trying to model for my kids? And so just remember, as a leader, and I promise you, everybody that will hear this message, that will hear this conversation, you are a leader, right? If you have kids, you're leading. It doesn't matter if you're in an organization, you're on this call, you're a leader. You can lead up, you can lead down, you can lead side to side. There's always leadership happening. So just remember, eyes are on. And, we have to be the most disciplined. We have to be the most positive. We have to be the most consistent. If you just stay disciplined, which means keeping the promise you make to yourself, staying positive no matter what, and just being the most consistent, you will win. You cannot lose if you check all three of these boxes. I saw this study, and of course it has to be true, right? I saw it on Instagram, so it has to be true. But they were sharing the difference between tennis players that are in the top 5 versus the top 25. And he said it's one thing. It's one thing that can get you at a top 25 in the world tennis player into that top 5. There's one thing. And they all have talent. They all have the best trainers. They have the best coaches. They have the best nutritionists. They have the most talent. All of that's equal. One thing. Those that were the most positive and optimistic were the ones that were able to excel to the top, into the top 5, meaning that shot didn't go my way. You know what? The next shot's going to go my way. Oh, that just went out. Okay. But the next one's going to be in, right? Oh, yeah, that's fine. It just, that was a bad turn. Guess what? A good turn's going to be coming for me pretty soon. So staying optimistic and staying positive in every situation is the difference. Be consistent with that, and be consistent in everything that we do. And, it's just like, these are the things that I write down to remind myself every day, right? As humans, we need to be reminded more than we need to be told. So being able to have that is so key. And, life is hard if you live it the easy way, and life is easy if you live it the hard way. So some actionable items here, right? Kind of where the rubber meets the road. And, like we said, we can all think positive. But if our inner stance is weak, nothing good happens. So inner stance is really the position or mental posture we create to live our life from. It can be empowering or it can be disempowering. And how are you living? Are you living empowered or are you living disempowered? And as leaders, we function with wisdom and power. Wisdom is just really knowledge, problem aware. Okay. We have an awareness, and power is just choice. Once we're problem aware, once we have knowledge, once we have an understanding, now we have a choice. We can do something about it or not. So remember, you function with wisdom and power. Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you feeling stressed? Well, guess what? You can shift that to, man, I'm focused. I'm going to be focused. I'm dialed in. I know exactly what the one thing that I have to do. I know the next step. And where the magic happens is that we have to marry the inner game with the outer game. So like, the tools, the scripts, the productivity, the calendar, the actions, the calls, the appointments, the lead generation activities, the showing of properties, negotiating of deals. Like, that's all outer game stuff. That's fine. That's those things are important, but it doesn't matter if you can't marry them in with the inner game. So four exercises here, guys, to help get your inner game in check. Clear the mental desk. We've got enough stuff going on in chaos, but if just like, think when your desk is absolutely cluttered, when you kind of clear it off, or at least get it into, organized chaos and stacks or whatever, or throw stuff away. But our minds are the same way. So sometimes we just carrying around so much. This is why journaling is so powerful, right? Just to flush everything out of our head. And then we can kind of see what's there. And is there anything that we need to prioritize and focus on and get done? The second is we need to just close the loop, right? We're a device, and the more apps that we have running in the background the faster our energy is going to drain. So we need to really look at and make a list of all the things in our life that we don't have closure on, right? Things that are just robbing us of energy. Prioritize them, get them complete. Some things that maybe you need to hand over to an attorney. Maybe you just need to pick up and make a dang phone call. Or really, what's really powerful here is sometimes we just got to let stuff go, right? Just let it go. Third exercise, get out of the gray zone, be present. That, to me, balance, we've all done the wheel of life, right? And every time it's just it's a deformed donut every time, right? So it will always be that way. That's the secret, right? Is it will always be that way. So being present is balance. So be fully present wherever you're at. I can promise you, probably most of you listening to this, you're not even present to this conversation. You're all thinking about other things. You're not fully engaged into the conversation. And that happens at work. You're thinking about the kids or the significant other. Then you're with family. You're thinking about work. We do it all the time. But if you really want true balance in your life, just be present wherever you're at, wherever your feet are, be there. List where you're working in those areas, where you're all over the place. And, what is important to you? I talked about Tony Schwartz's book, The Power of Full Engagement. And these things really, really help, to really help us stay focused and stay, present of wherever we're at. And then lastly, eliminate the energy robbers. What are the list of things robbing you of energy? What are they? Make a list of your equities. Worrying about things outside of your control. That's a great question at all times. Is this within my control or not? And that's typically sometimes with other human beings. Like, I can't control another human being. If that's how their actions are out of my control. They're silencing, ignoring me. That's on them. It's not on me. What's within my control? Dealing with people from our past, right? People that we've grown beyond. Eating poorly, not exercising enough. I put this in there, too much Crown Apple. My buddy Alex Piak was on stage with me when I put this presentation together. So I always give him that. He likes Crown Apple. So, just find those energy robbers, identify them and get rid of them. They're not helping you. I promise you that. One last little concept here I want you guys to grasp. There's this plus, minus, and equal concept. And this comes from Frank Shamrock in his MMA studio in his classes. And so when you come into his class, he has plus, minus, and equal. He said, day one, he's like, here's the thing. You have to find a plus. You got to find somebody that's better than you, that's going to mentor you, coach you, lead you, that you look up to. That's a plus. A minus is somebody that is behind you, right? Like, you're just coming in. So like a real estate agent, you're like, well, man, I just got my license. Well, I promise you, there's other people trying to get their real estate license that you can help, right? So who's the minus? Who can you help? And then the equal is that peer, that accountability person, somebody that's going to hold us accountable daily, that we're going to run with together. So I would challenge all of you, one, in your business, in your health, in your relationships, find a plus, find a minus, find an equal. It's one of the most powerful concepts, because it's not necessarily just about our team. It's about building a life team around us to help us accomplish our goals and our dreams and our goals, and live the life that we desire. And so obviously when the tough times hit, get a coach. Always follow the golden rule. I love this. There's, we all follow that, right? Do it to others, but the platinum rule, just don't be a D bag. Elizabeth Gilbert, just a fun play on that. So Ashton, here's the Agent to CEO portal that I told you guys I wanted to give you guys access to. So you can click on the QR code, or you can just go to vault.agenttoceo.com and register. vault.agenttoceo.com. And this is what's in there. Exponential growth masterclass that I put together a few years ago. You can follow it and build your entire empire just off of those 12 masterclass sessions. If you're looking at hiring an ISA, there's the ISA hiring mastery. We actually charged $10,000 to attend a 3-day event for that training right there. Our expert advisor boot camp, our raving fan club that we utilized inside of our brokerages. Mr. J. Abraham, gentleman that's really, really responsible for a lot of where we're at. The ISA boot camp. I'm sorry, right there's the hiring process, and then there's the boot camp. That's the actual boot camp recordings in there. Obviously, NAEA membership stuff. Some coach code session replays that I did a few years ago. Probably one of the most important sales training that you can ever go through, Jordan Belfort, Straight Line Persuasion. It is the best sales training that you could ever go through. It's the Wolf of Wall Street, and he tells it right from the jump. He says, use this ethically. Obviously he didn't, but Straight Line Persuasion, it's unbelievable. Buyer Agent Bootcamp. It was the Buyer Agent Bootcamp that Alex Piak put together for brand new agents coming into our brokerage. Got KT, my quarterly strategic event. Those recordings are in there. We even have the certified coaching training, which is all around leadership. So that's there. And Agent to CEO Live. But one thing right here that I want to highlight is the Agent to CEO calls. So the Agent to CEO calls are the live calls that I've been doing all year. Those are live. So if you get access to the vault, then you will be on the notification reminder to join those live calls. I do a marketing call every Wednesday. So we call it our CMO call. So it's all things marketing. And then on Thursdays, Joel Perso does COO calls. Joel Perso is the COO, runs operations for Sphere Rocket. And if you guys aren't familiar with Sphere Rocket is a VA. I call them a headhunting, talent headhunting and training organization. They place VAs out of the Philippines. They are fantastic. My entire team is built from their company out of the Philippines, and so Joel is the COO. I mean, he is the best small business COO I've ever been around. One of the smartest guys I know, and he leads those calls. So think about that. I mean, Sphere Rocket would be a $10 million in revenue company this year, and so having the ability to jump on and train and ask questions with Joel, and then obviously myself around all things marketing. So you guys have that opportunity if you log in, if you sign up for the vault, no charge, just being able to, as a thank you guys for having me on and being able to share a little value with you. So take advantage of that. And then also, if you guys want to go a little bit further, we have our call link out there, sevenfigurecall.com. You can jump on, walk you through kind of the drivers of your business. Where are you struggling? Remember, in business, it's traffic, conversion, fulfillment. It's only three things. And so where is that constraint? For most people, it's traffic. They don't have enough traffic. They don't have enough demand. So if you want to kind of jump in there, take you through kind of a business driver assessment, kind of help you identify, where the constraints are, sevenfigurecall.com. Ashton, I'll leave with this before we jump into questions. So I got on this crazy endurance journey about 7 years ago now. Actually, I was getting ready to turn 40. So it's been about 8 years ago now. And I lost my mom when I was 11. She was 2 months shy of turning 40. So when I was getting ready to turn 40, I wanted to do something to kind of honor her. And so I had never run more than a beer run 5K. And so I ended up running a marathon that year, New York City Marathon, was able to take my dad. It was just an incredible experience. And then I was listening to Jesse Itzler at an event, Speak from Stage. And if you guys have the opportunity to ever connect with Jesse, do so. He's got he's one of the most fascinating human beings on planet, probably one of the best speakers from stage I've ever seen. He's married to Sarah Blakely, so he kind of won the lottery there too. But he said, as human beings, one of the worst things that we can do is accomplish a big milestone and not immediately reset the goal. At that time, I had heard him. I had just finished a marathon, which was a really big deal for me at the time, and I hadn't reset the goal yet. And so I get notification from Reese about Ironman Ironman Florida 10-year anniversary. And I'm of the belief that you don't commit and figure it out. I believe you think about what it is, you reverse engineer what it's going to take for that to be true, and then is that something you're willing to commit to? That's how I view commitment. And so what happened was I ended up signing up for Ironman Florida, and I go down the path all by myself because I ran a marathon. I figured out how to run a marathon by myself. And of course, I did my due diligence, what's going to be required. And so I go down the path, start training for a full Ironman, which is 2.4 mile swim, 112 miles on the bike, and then full marathon, 26.2. So that's where you get the 140.6 total miles distance covered. And man, I get a few months out from Ironman Florida and I am lost. And it was one of those look in the mirror moments. And I'm like, you are the biggest idiot on the planet. You are a coach and you're trying to figure this out on your own. And needless to say, I immediately reached out and got a coach. And, we were, Hurricane Michael came through, destroyed Panama City Beach. So we were delayed about 6 months. So I had about six more months of training with an actual coach. and was able to get me across the finish line for Ironman Texas. And we went on to go back and do Ironman Florida, and then we did Ironman Tulsa a few years later. Just got kind of paused with the pandemic, and it's just funny to reflect back on that. As a coach, it's just wild, right? To think you can do all the things on your own. So there's at the finish of the 3, and like I said, keep going, right? Whatever your heart is, keep doing that hard. And so after the 3rd Ironman, I was like, I'm done. My family was there, my sister, my dad got to see the finish line, and I'm like, I'm good. I'm done with the Ironman stuff. I'm tired of going to the pool. I'm tired of on this dang bike. So just keep running. Just finished last year. We finished Keys 100, so 3 100-mile races, foot races, and we're still pushing. We've got a couple more lined up, and we're trying to work our way into Badwater either next year or the year after that. So whatever your heart is, find that hard, and keep pushing. And always remember, even the best athletes have coaches. Why? Hold them accountable, point out blind spots, keep the train on the tracks, and continue to challenge themselves to ask more. So 7figurecall.com if you want to dive a little bit deeper. But there we go.
Amazing. Let me just stop sharing. Good, excellent. Well, thank you very much, John, for sharing with us all those amazing training and material that you brought to us. Anyone has any question here? If you don't step forward, I have a ton of it. So,
hey, Ashley, I'm used to it. It's a lot of the deer in the headlight look, right? Because that's, if people are plugged in, they're thinking, right? It's like they're just their brains are turning. So I'm good usually when there's silence. I know it resonated, it connected.
it's amazing. I talk to agents almost on a daily basis, and there is one thing that is repeated many times. Oh, real estate is hard. And I'm telling them, listen, when you go to Olympic, those Olympics athletes, they train for 4 years. These are hours, these are minutes and seconds. They work hard for 4 years just to save 1 second.
Yeah.
4 years of their life for 1 second. 4 years to go 1 inch higher.
Yeah.
They work so hard just to be in front of everybody else, be glorified. And now we're complaining because we have to do a little bit of more disciplined tasks that we have to do. That's ironic. What helped them to go further, wait 4 years for a chance to be number 1 is endurance. That's the bigger thoughts. So the question I have for you, John, here is how an agent can think bigger.
Yeah, I think, thinking bigger is looking into the future. We draw inspiration off of things. I think that's where, you look at that external, motivation, inspiration that we kind of need to be able to go there. That's a good start. I think the thing is understanding the levels that we play at, and most people play in survival mode, and beyond survival, what people are chasing is status. And once you get to status, you got to remember there's always another level, and you've got to get out of status and you've got to move to freedom. And freedom is a different definition for everybody. But the two concepts to come up with freedom is what is your dollar that you want coming in that you're not trading time for. See, if we don't, a lot of us are dancing bears. If we don't dance, we don't get paid. And so we're trading time for dollars. However, are we making investments? Are we doing the things? Are we taking advantage of rev share? Are we investing in the opportunities that we're finding, that we find for our clients, that we can find for ourselves, that we can invest in to be able to, provide money that we're making our money work for us. We've got those revenue streams coming in. But what is your dollar amount? You need to know what that is, right? And if you do the exercise for absolute financial freedom, the number is a lot less than what you think. That's one. You got to know your number. What is your freedom number? Dollar coming in that you're not trading time. You don't have to dance for. And then the second is, what is your perfect day? Like, what does that perfect day for you look like, right? If you have to live Groundhog Day over and over, and you know it's a typical Tuesday. Don't think it's like something that you could get in trouble for. You can't have the purge, and you can't go do something that you're probably not going to make it back alive from. But it's like a typical Tuesday, and you wake up. Like if you do the exercise correctly, like the moment you wake up, what are you thinking? What are you next to? What do you smell? What's the temperature? Your feet hit the floor. Is it carpet? Is it tile? When you look out the window, what do you see? Are you in the city? Are you in the mountains? Are you at the beach? Like where are you? And you go through that whole day, right? Like breakfast, if you have breakfast. If not, you have lunch. What are you eating? Who are you eating with? What are you talking about? But everybody that's honest with that exercise, everybody works about 2 to 4 hours every day. So it's like, okay, well, who are you helping? Like what are you helping them solve? What's the problem that you're helping them solve, right? Remember, business people, the only thing people buy are results. And so we have to understand that we are in the results business. We solve problems for people so that they can get the results that they want, that they can't do on their own, or they would. So people buy results. I mean, everything. You buy gum for what? What's the result you want from buying a piece of gum? So it's results that people want. So we have to structure our business around solving people's problems. We can solve small problems, we can solve big problems. And it's crazy, when you think about it, if you're only going to work 2 to 4 hours every day to live the life that you want to live, like what problems are you solving? Who are you working with? And what that does is starts to pull out who you are at your core. And so like you'll catch yourself, you're like, man, I would never eat this on my perfect day. Then why are you eating it? Man, I would never have a conversation with this person. I would never even talk to this person. Then why are you talking to them? Like, why are you talking about those things? Like, I would never work with this type of person to help them solve this type of problem on my perfect day. Then why are you? So you got to start to make that shift. But I think you've got to set the bigger goal, and it's got to be beyond status. And, being with Kinder now for right at 20 years, I've been kind of thinking about it as, if I was to go back and coach me and him, the one thing that we did not get right was the vision. We didn't build a vision for freedom. We built a vision for status. And we wanted to be number one. We were top 10 in the world for Caldwell Banker. We went head to head with a top 10 Remax team on the planet, right? This is back, it was like all the legacy brand. EXP wasn't even dreamed of at this point, right? So we were like chasing status. We wanted to be number one. And instead of, we should have been like, okay, well, what is it going to take for us to get to freedom? What's our freedom number? And are we building a business and helping people achieve their dreams to be able to do that? So that's, what I would say, Ashton, is that I can promise you, everybody on this, listening to this, you're not thinking big enough. You're thinking so small, and you're probably thinking survival, and then you're thinking status, and you got to get to, what is my freedom? And you got to go through the stages. You'll go through the stages. You'll go to status because you'll want the car, you'll want the house, you'll want the school district, you'll want the clothes, you'll want the look, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But as soon as you get there, don't stay there. Get to freedom. Because if you make that mistake, I promise you it'll set you back decades. Decades. Think bigger, move in a known direction. And for a lot of people live a circular life, right? You have to flatten out that circle, and it's about getting from where you're at to where you want to go, from point A to point B. And a lot of people, what they do is that they get clear of where they're at, and they're honest with themselves, and then they set this big goal. But it's hard, right? It's hard to go uphill, right? Because everything in life is uphill, and you have to be intentional to go uphill. But what happens for a lot of people is that they start to lower their vision down to their current reality. And then instead of moving in a straight line, it just becomes connected, and it's just a circle. And it's sad because it spirals down, right? When you're in a circle, it spirals down. You're not in a circle that spirals up. And so you got to flatten it out. You got to get clear where you want to go, and you got to move in that direction. And then you just got to be, honest with yourself and humble enough to ask for help. Asking for help is a superpower. A lot of us, especially drivers, we want to try to figure stuff out on your own. That was the aha that I shared, with Iron, trying to figure out how to do a full Ironman, like dumb, just dumb, trying to do that on my own. Right. And it was pride, it was ego. And it was like, I'm going to do this on my own, right? I'm going to be able to say, I figured out how to run a full Ironman on my own. That's dumb. Even Tiger Woods has coaches, right? So it's like understanding that you got to have support. You got to have people. It's always who, not how.
Having a mentor or a trainer is expensive, but not having them is even more expensive because
Facts.
that's waste your time, your life as well. And your energy. Your energy would drain after 5, 10, 15 years, try to work it out on your own, versus that journey can be shortened to five years. So that's a valuable lesson that I learned from you. If no one has any question, I have two more to finish it. Anyone wants to jump here? That's your opportunity, guys. No?
All right, Ashton, keep it rolling.
Okay. There is a big question and a smaller question. The smaller question here is, we are June 2024, another 6 months to go. What should we do to transform our business becomes very successful as a real estate agent? 6 more months.
Yeah,
What is
6 more months. So we're at halftime, right? So halftime, we make adjustments. And if you guys are football fans, you know what 28-3 means. And, at halftime of that game, it was 21-3. With about 3 minutes left to go in the third quarter, it was 28-3. And it's the largest comeback in Super Bowl history. And, why Tom Brady is Tom Brady. So understand it can be like this game's over. It ain't ever over. The only time it's over is when you give up. That's it. You always have a move. We always have a move. And so remember when you step back, there's one concept that I want you guys to understand how you have to operate in. You have to operate in the theory of constraints. There is always a constraint somewhere in our business, in our life, in our thinking. Everything is a conveyor belt. And once you can understand that conveyor belt, then you understand, okay, well, where is my constraint? Well, in our business, it's only three things. Guys, don't overcomplicate this. It's traffic, it's conversion, it's fulfillment. Those are the three things. That's it. When I go into a room, I always poll the room in the beginning. 99% of real estate agents, you know what their biggest constraint is? They don't have enough traffic. They don't have enough demand. Like who's your who? The problem is that most real estate agents are trying to figure out how to be the best real estate agent. You don't want to know the secret? The best real estate agent never wins. It's the best marketer. If you do not shift your thinking to becoming a world class, to be great at anything, you have to be obsessed. And I can promise you, a lot of you are not obsessed with anything. But if you're going to become obsessed with being a world class marketer. That's it. Because being a world-class marketer, you can pivot, shift, change, whatever comes at you. We're in a headwind, tailwind, season of your life, season of the business. They double rates on us. They go from 7 to 15. They go, there is, no inventory. You got to figure out how you're going to get paid. Whatever regulations they throw at you, it doesn't matter when you're a marketer. And marketing is never done, right? It's a forever obsession. It's always a constant pursuit. And so I would say double down and understand where your constraint is. And most of you, it is in you don't have enough demand. You don't have enough traffic to be able to have people to talk to convert them to be able to want to do business with you to where you can fulfill on that promise. So I would give you two resources that you need to get if you don't already have. You need to get Alex Hermosi's $100 million leads. You need to get the blue book, $100 million leads. You need to understand your core four, and you need to understand your lead getters. And then you need to get on the Wednesday marketing call with me and talk about marketing for an hour every week. And so, but you need to understand those concepts. You need to understand, what are you doing to stay relevant with your database? What are you doing on social media? What are you doing cold outreach? What are you doing, if you're running any type of ads? What are you doing to get your people to send you referrals? What are you getting your vendors to send you referrals? What are you getting to make sure your team members are finding business? You need to understand those concepts. And then the other book is, you need to get Gary Vee's new book, Day Trading Attention, because all of the attention is on social media. The agents that I'm working with that are doing exceptionally well all crush social media. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Georgia Tush, Tush Real Estate. So Georgia, she's in Canada, and so Georgia has probably one of the best social media. She just did this incredible 6-minute reel of video of previewing a house. Unbelievable. So go follow her. Go follow Georgia Tush, Tusch, and she is unbelievable of what she's doing with her social media. But the agents that crush and are consistent with social media um, are killing it. So that's Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. If you guys aren't following Gary V, you got to follow Gary V. Day Trading Attention, and then Alex Hormozzi's $100 million leads. Go get those 2 books, obsess over them. Get them on audio, listen to them, get the physical copy because they're workbooks, and work through it and build your social media and build your lead strategy. That's the number one thing I would tell everybody to focus on going into the second half of the year. Leads. You need more leads. I promise you.
Excellent. That's very true. John, one very quick question, one very quick answer to that is system. We always talk about if you follow a certain system in real estate, you're going to be successful. So what are the pillar of success as not success as a system? I know one is prospecting. Just name a few of them.
Yeah, so you need to have a lead gen and then into your sales process, right? So think of it as a conveyor belt all down, right? So you have the overarching system, and then you have the processes that go with it, which would be like checklist of things that we do on a consistent basis. Create checklists. I don't care if you do it on Big Chief tablet or if you put it in, and it doesn't matter, right? Just write it down, have a checklist, right? Airplane. Pilots, how many hours they have to be able to fly a commercial plane, yet every time they get in the cockpit, they have to go through a checklist. It's the same thing in our business. So what are you doing? So this is what you would get off the lead gen off of Core 4. Okay, what are we doing this week to our database? Okay, what's our social media content laid out for this week, this month? What are we doing to our cold outreach? How are we reaching out to motivated sellers? Then what ads are we running? What's the process to be able to run those ads? We get a lead in. What is the process of being able to engage, and then call, have a conversation? Conversations should lead to an appointment. An appointment should lead to being able to articulate your value to where they want to do business with you. Once you have business, then you get to fulfill on that, right? So as you go through the conveyor belt, and most people start with, well, now I have a buyer. How do I handle them? Well, get a buyer first. So what's the process to go get a buyer? What's the process to go get a seller? And then once we have those leads, how do we talk to them? And then how do we manage them in our database, in our CRM, to where we can segment and we know to keep following up with them? And that's like I said, what are we going to focus on? So here's another system for you, right? So we plan for the future. We strategize on the next 90 days. So we're at halftime. We need to be thinking about the next 3 months, July, August, September, Q3. We need to be thinking about Q3. And we need to be thinking about Q3 of how we're going to set up Q4. So we strategize over the next 90 days because that's going to help us in the fourth quarter. We're thinking into the future. So we strategize around that. We focus on the month. So our monthly focus is around marketing. What are we doing to create more demand? Our focus for this month. Sales, you can only do and focus on sales weekly. If you try to expand beyond the weekend sales, you get lost. It's like, okay, what are we going to commit to this week with our sales efforts? And then daily, what do we have to do to execute? If guys can just understand that, it's like, okay, we plan for the future. We strategize over the 90 days. We focus our marketing efforts on the month. We commit to our sales number, our sales focus, our goals, and then we execute on the things within our control daily to move our business forward. That's the system, right? That's the system of success. And then along the path, you have things that get to this milestone. Okay, what's the checklist? We get to this milestone. What's the checklist?
Excellent. Great. Thank you. It was
Can
great to have you. Yeah. Go ahead,
sorry,
Holly.
quick, not question. Thank you, John. It was very, very informative and amazing. All of them I heard different way from different people, from Ashton. I think an agent like me, I have issue of it becomes so overwhelming for me, when I have to organize things. and it make me at some point stop doing it. You know, it's too much because I have to do this. Oh, I haven't done that. This, you know what I mean? When I get something like for transaction, I work on it 110% and make it happen most of the time. But when I start doing it, there's a lot, you know, there's a lot in real estate you have to do and you have to learn.
Yeah.
So it just lose my mind, to be honest. When I say
Yeah.
it's overwhelming, I'm not kidding. Like that, it stopped me at some point doing it.
It'll paralyze you.
I'm not very organized, but I am kind of organized. I can do it. Like I do, okay, let's do this, finish, do that. But it's too much for me. Any advice?
Yeah, as fast as you can, as fast as you can, and you might not quite be able to afford it. It's like, this is going to hurt a little bit. Make the investment in getting somebody to help you to get all of the things off of your plate that don't move this business forward. Real estate, there's only a handful of things, guys. It is so like you servicing that deal and paperwork, that is like you're devaluing your time, right?
Mhm.
So it's impossible to make $1 million doing $10 an hour work. So you've got to understand that. So the number one thing that is daily within your control is lead gen. The other thing is daily within your control is an engagement to those leads that lead to a conversation. Conversations, then asking for an appointment. If you don't ASK, you don't GET, asking for the appointment and setting appointments. There's only 3 things in this business that are within your control on a daily basis. So no matter what you do, the biggest thing that real estate agents do is that they cast, oh, they get one on the line, they reel it in, and they stop casting. You got to cast every day. You got to throw the hooks in the water every day. Every day, what am I doing so these would be the metrics that I would tell you to focus on and make the commitment daily to do this. And this is where that having an accountability partner is so key, is how many new contacts did I add to my database today? How many conversations did I have today? And how many appointments did I set today? Those are the only 3 things. Those are the things within your control. So it's like, if you reverse engineer based upon your goal, then you should know how many conversations and appointments you need. And if you do the math, guys, if you just do this and reverse engineer this, the KPI, the key performance indicator, is a lot less than what you think. It is a lot less than what you think. And so the number one thing is going to be conversation. It's going to be new people to the database and conversations. And if you can just track those 2 things, everything else takes care of itself. So, like I said, if you want to jump on a call, 7-figure call, jump on. I'll take you through the business drivers, and then I'll walk you through the KPIs so you can get clear on kind of what those metrics are. And then there's no guessing. You can just, know what you have to do.
Thank you. I think
You're welcome.
commitment, consistency, and accountability partner, that's that's 3 important things.
So important. Like find somebody that you can text at the end of every day and put a wager on it, right? If I don't do what I say I'm going to do, we'll put $100 into the pot at the end of the month. We'll donate it to a charity that we don't want to donate it to, right? Like make it painful. Make it painful.
You.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
To get help. That's the thing, right? When it's going to be painful, make the hire. Get the who to get the things off your plate so you can just stay consistent on the things that move the business forward.
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to make it very painful for all of you. Just give me $1,000 if you can do it.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We are at the end of
Cool.
our meeting here. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you joining us.
Yes.
And if next time I send you an email to join us back, come here. Do not block my email, okay? You come here.
I will never block it.
I know you won't. I know you
I
won't.
never will. I never will. Hey, Ashton, I want to throw it out there. So I've been doing this live training every week. We're doing it again today. The 7-figure call, but it's 7-figure BP, 7figureblueprint.com. It's all over my social media. We're pushing people to. If you guys want to jump on with that, you're more than welcome to today. I think it's at 1 Eastern. Wait, 1 Eastern. Yeah, 1 Central. It's this afternoon. I don't know what time it is.
You're on 2 o'clock.
And so we're doing that. I will walk through the 6 pillars for your business, right? We talked a lot of mindset and things today. I'll walk through that. If you guys want to jump on, take advantage of it. That way you have a little bit of mindset this morning, a little bit of your business foundation this afternoon.
Where's the Zoom address?
the number 7 figure, FIGUREBP.com. It's kind of 7-figure blueprint.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much, John. And
Thank you,
pleasure to have
guys.
you.
Ashton, it was awesome. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.